Mastery of a skill also means that you don't neglect the basics. What I mean by that, Einstein was famously asked by a reporter, a journalist, what's the speed of light? Obviously he knows what the speed of light is, but he said, why would I retain that information when I can easily look it up in a textbook? What's got me thinking about this today is I have been up in a private plane with one of our employees, lead tutor Rich. Thank you so much for taking me up. It was amazing. And basically had like a little lesson experience, and it was so much fun just to look through the lens of it as a student learning a new thing. The biggest thing that I took away from today was obviously he has flown so many times. He knows it all inside and out. But just like intelligence is not measured by how many things you know, intelligence is the rate of learning. It's your processing power, your ability to go through a logical thought process and problem solve and calculate and figure things out, right? It's not how big's your memory. And what's really important is the people at the top of each of their fields also know that why gamble it? Why risk it? Especially with something like flying where things can go horribly wrong. Why would you risk not just having a piece of paper that you follow? And this is where SOPs are so important. So there was an SOP at each stage. I think there were like 30 to go through from the moment you get in the plane to the moment you leave it. And it's like pre-fueling, before the engine is started, after the engine is started, pre-flight check, runway check, post takeoff, and then you've got a list of a massive number of emergency ones, and then pre-landing, post-landing, after turning the engine off, and there's a list of say like 7 steps you need to check in a specific order to complete that thing. But the most important thing that he did in each of these times he was going through one of the sequences or the SOPs was he was saying it out loud. He was going, right, with his piece of paper in front of him, okay, engine light on, test on, okay, I'm going to say rudder, I don't know what it is for a plane, but rudder, yep, full maneuverability, okay, we're going to work this, done. And he's going through verbally saying what's the thing he needs to do and did it get the outcome that he needed. And I think this is super important because the more I have become process driven, the more I did this without knowing about it, knowing that it was a thing done in other industries. And what's really funny is my most successful sales guys that have come on the team are very happy to do this. And the ones who think they're too cool or they don't have the humility to look stupid and do this also learn slower and cap themselves at a lower level. And it's exactly the same thing we notice when teaching students. I explicitly ask a student when I'm testing where they're at, talk me through every step that you're doing, because if you cannot articulate what it is you're doing and why, you probably don't understand it. Now, for safety reasons in flying, that's why you do it more so, because there's 2 of you being pilots, and it's so that the second person doesn't just assume you've done it, they can literally hear every checkpoint that's meant to be done, so that there's extra fail-safes, right? But I love this, and like in my business, there are so many things, so many moving parts that we have spent a very long time trying to make efficient, figuring out the best way to do it to get the best outcome, and I don't remember it every time. So every time I have to get up the SOP and just follow it step by step of being like, right, someone's no-showed. What's the first thing we do? Okay, at 30 seconds past, we give them a call. Okay, perfect. And it's specifically on WhatsApp. Great, because if they do answer, and we stay with them until the call, if they can't get on the call, we can switch to a video call. Perfect. All right. Next up, okay, they didn't answer for that. Now, we've sent them an email. Perfect. At 3 minutes, we're now sending them this WhatsApp message. Okay, at 4 minutes, we're doing this. Okay, we're going to stay in the call until 10. Like, you just don't have to memorize it. You're outsourcing that computing power, that memory bank, to actually be useful somewhere else. It's about your understanding, your ability to do the job, not to remember it all. And I cannot say how important that is, I think, when having SOPs, and that's the bloody reason they're there in the first place. So if you are uncomfortable talking through exactly what you're doing, why, when you're doing it, that's a skill I would strongly recommend having, because it will drastically improve your own understanding of it and your ability to be consistent. And consistency is required to scale anything, right? Because consistency is the key to success, but only if you do things consistently so that you can test things and say, okay, that's better, or that's worse. Now I'm going to consistently do the better thing, right? And then you test something else and say, oh, that's better. And then you can consistently, over time, get better and better and better. If you don't have a fixed process of how you do stuff that is tracked and measured, you cannot say whether you're getting closer or further away to your goal other than on gut feeling. And I can tell you this, Olympic gold medal winners don't go off gut feeling, right? If you want to do something truly incredible, it has to be measured, it has to be managed. And this is an easy way, I think, a simple way to guarantee outcomes, or rather drastically increase the likelihood. So there we go. I'll put some of the footage on here so you can see what it was like taking off and landing. It was great fun, pulling some G's, and it was wicked. So thanks, Rich, again. Have a great day, guys. Peace.